I'm so excited to be speaking with my one of my wonderful clients. Giselle came to me when she had a bronchitis and then she had a traumatic experience that brought up a lot of fears and a lot of negative harmful patterns up to the surface of her awareness, and then she burned out. Giselle is a trailblazer, she's a change maker, she's a passion life lover and people lover. Giselle wanted to be Giselle 2.0, and I think now today we're talking to Giselle 3.0. Hi, Giselle.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good, I'm great.
I'm so excited we get to talk. So, Giselle, what would you say to a woman who's thinking about working with me?
If you have that gut feeling, like because you just feel it and it's like your intuition and to really listen to it and take that leap of faith because at the end of the day, it's for them. They're really doing it for them. And when I was talking about priorities, it's that in your list of priorities, you're actually shifting the place that you're in, or maybe like you're not even on that list right now. So shifting that to having yourself as the number one priority is very important. You know, if you were born on this earth, you're equally as important as anyone else. So just recognizing that if you give and allow yourself to be important, and with the tools that you give in the tune-in program and also the coachings, like it allows to just feel into I am important, I am a human, I accept myself, I love myself, and then you're able to have that ripple effect on people and share that love, and it's welcomed with open arms. So yes, maybe it might be scary, you know, because you're really changing your life. You're doing things that are completely different than what you used to do or what you've been doing for so many years, but then you feel relieved, you feel just like so much lighter and happier. So if you're happier, then you're able to give more happiness and love. I'm just mind blown at how I was like a few months ago and now, and honestly, like I do not regret it, and I would do it again in another lifetime.
I want you to tell us about the amazing growth that has happened in the 3 months that we worked together. So, first off, like where were you before working together?
To be honest, I felt like I was in a ditch. Like I hit rock bottom. And I hadn't realized that until I had like my bronchitis and the traumatic experience that I went through and going through PTSD. It was at that moment that I realized, you know what, like something has to change. I have to do something in my life that's going to shift the direction that it's going. And then soon after, like we reconnected and it was just like meant to be. And I was like, you know what, this is a sign. And then we started working together. And I think it was the best decision I've ever made.
Okay, that's where you were, and where would you say you are now after these 3 months of working together?
Honestly, I would say I'm in awe at the level of growth that I've seen. Because if you would have asked me like in February when everything had happened, I would have never seen myself where I'm at now. And it was just an accelerated growth, and it's something that I would have never imagined to feel like a few months ago.
I have some notes here of the things
Sure.
that you went through. You felt really stuck physically since the bronchitis, like in the chest area, and a lot of physical manifestations happened. How would you say that the program has helped you to feel less of that tense and that stuckness in that area?
I think it made me more aware of what was going inside my body and kind of connecting the dots with how I was feeling emotionally, and that it would translate itself physically into my body. So when I realized that, then I realized that I could have control over how it would affect my body.
Mm.
So doing some breath work that I learned with you made me feel in control of like how like the state of my body, and therefore be able to release any tension or recognize it like right after like I have a stressful situation. So just being more aware of what's going on internally. And it's crazy because a few years ago I used to have a lot of panic attacks. Going from that to now that I can recognize signs that, would be triggers to my body. I'm able to control that. I'm able to feel good, even if there's a stressful situation.
And so if we go back to like emotional health, I remember you saying how you felt like you couldn't express your emotions fully and you had to kind of push through. Can you talk to us a little bit about how that was before and how that is now for you?
Well, from a young age, I was very taught to, you know, you have to be a strong person. So anything that was like a negative emotion would be, kind of frowned upon. So if I was sad, then I needed to be like a strong girl. I wasn't able to freely just feel my emotions. And that was for years. And I'm 26 now, and it's so much because it's a quarter of a lifetime of like habits and learning to have those patterns to repress yourself. So at some point I was really focused on, letting everyone else feel their emotions, but I was not able to feel them and express them, which became like frustration. So with the program, I started really to internalize it and see that, well, I'm important too. I'm also a human. I think it's learning that as a human, it's like you're going to go through all of these emotions, maybe like happiness, sadness, anger, and just being okay with all of them shifts your mindset, shifts to acceptance and not judgment, which was a game changer. So now I'm much more confident. So that's also something that attaches itself to confidence, right? Because if now I'm willing to myself accept my emotions, then I'm confident enough to kind of verbalize it or express it to other people, which was the hardest thing for me. That's the effect that I've had from the program. It's to have confidence and just, be in tune with my emotions and knowing that it's okay.
What about judgment? You did mention it a little bit earlier, how judgment was part of your life, but judging yourself, how would you say your perspective has changed?
I would say before I was very scared of what people would say or think. I kind of realized that I was really focusing myself on what these people could think about me, and that at the end of the day that it did not belong to me. It was something external that could or could not happen. So just feeling that and realizing that I'm going through things made me more comfortable with not thinking about other people like judging me, or like if they were to judge me, well, that's in their head. Like it's not something that I would ever listen to. And if they think that way, well, it's not something that's touching me emotionally, or I shouldn't let it touch me emotionally, because it's their own opinion. And I can live my own life. If I'm happy with my decisions, then that's what matters the most. That realization made me shift. Is it a constructive feedback that they're giving you or not? And if it's not, then that's something that you can throw away. And it's, I think, realizing how you're feeling, your thoughts, and just disconnecting yourself from like the external thoughts of the world, because they're not really inside of you, just really like changes your whole perception of like things and how you behave. Their judgments would determine my own person, and I'll try to accommodate to what was good for them. At the end of the day, if you're always doing what's good for other people and being the person that they need or want you to be, then it's going to end up hurting your emotional, mental, and physical health. And just going through that and seeing it actually happen in February, that it did affect me emotionally, mentally, and physically, I was not helping myself. And the only person that was suffering the consequences of like looking out for everyone else and being the person there for everyone else was me. Everyone else was fine. so when I realized that, I'm like, you know what? I won't allow myself actually to live through this again. It's not that I don't care about people. Like I do care about people. I do love them. I do appreciate their opinion. But if it's constructive and good for me.
And one time you told me that was actually a difficult thing for you to do, like, or that it was scary to prioritize yourself? And does it still feel scary?
Any new habit takes time, and it's hard to do at first. So changing that really allowed me to also be more present for people after like I did that shift. Before, I felt like I was there for everyone except for myself. I felt like time was not enough, like I wasn't doing as much as I could for people, and it was never good enough. So I was never good enough. And then just changing my whole mindset and working on my inner self and just accepting me as me, it allowed me to feel like I had more time for people. I had more time to be there for my friends, my family, and whatever I was willing to give them was good enough because I gave my 100%. It's strange, right? Like to think, you know what, I'm putting myself first, and therefore I feel like I'm contributing more to the people that I love in my life. Because before, I would think like all my time is distributed with everyone that I love. But now, like in that list, there's me as well. And I'm able to feel even more that I'm present, even more that like I'm giving everything that I would love to give to those people because I'm loving myself as well.
What are tools in the Tune In program that you remember have had a really great impact on you?
I would say the number one is the breath work because it allowed me to kind of feel into my body and being very aware of like the movements in my body, what was going on, and just energetically healing any type of tension that I had. And doing the breath work and was just like a game changer. I was like, oh my God, like I am able myself to kind of heal myself and just really tune into what is going on, why am I feeling like that, and liberate that. Like I had no tension for days, and I was like, oh my God, yay. You realize that breathing is very important. And it's something that in our fast, paced society, people don't realize that you need to breathe. You need to take a second and actually breathe. Feeding your body with like breath is so important, and I feel like we don't do that very often. Another thing was kind of discovering that I was so stuck in my beliefs and like kind of seeing it from my own perspective, like situations that I was going through with like family or like myself, and sharing and coming to like an aha moment of like, you know what, that actually this could have like a different perspective. And I'm like, you know what, that makes so much more sense. Just being able to now do that myself is so different because I'm not judging things, right? And before that used to be a very big thing of me. It's like that I would judge situations, I would judge people, but now I'm much more aware of that. So now that you're aware of that, then you're able to stop it and be like, you know what, no, I can't let it control my whole moment or like my life. And then you just stop it, and then you're able to shift. So learning how to shift those like thoughts and feelings felt very empowering for me.
I know, it's so exciting. I mean, seriously, you like had so many celebrations and like exponential growth every time, and it was like, what? Cool. And like, is there anything that you can add in regards to our conversation between sessions? Like, how supported did you feel, and how did you feel that me as a coach was the perfect way to go for you?
First of all, it's very structured, so I love that because it made me really kind of set a time and be like, okay, this is like my me time, like I'm gonna have a coaching and that's it. It allowed me to really dig deep into what was the root cause of my feelings or my thoughts. Just digging deep into what it is that I needed made me kind of liberate that and understand where it was coming from. And it just made me understand more of myself. And what I especially liked about your coachings was that before we do the coaching, there's like the form that we have to fill in. So you kind of like think and reflect, okay, what it is that I need, like, do I have any questions? And then we would dig deep into that during our coaching. And it was never like, you telling me like, oh, do this and that. The questions that you were asking me were like so amazing, because you brought out of me the solutions. It's more natural for me to do it and apply it, because it's from me, right? It's not something that someone imposed on me or told me to do. It was easier for me to apply any solution that I came up with, and I was more comfortable with that as well. And with that, it made me trust myself more and realize that I had the answers. I just needed to like get them out. It allowed me to trust more my intuition and realize that I have the answers as well, and they're adapted to my own self, and whatever works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for someone else. So I think that's the key point, is that you learn to do these things, and later on in life, obviously, where our life continues, you're going to be able to tune into that intuition and heal yourself and come up with your own solutions. That's the main purpose of the Tune In program, is to really empower people to learn their inner self, and then after, spread their wings and fly. um it's the perfect method to, yes, be coached, but in a positive way that empowers you to be yourself and finding your own path and way of doing things.
Many women relate to your story, relate to where you were before and where you are now, because they want to get to that place. So thank you so much for sharing your heart. I know it will be super helpful. I love you so much, and I'm so grateful we're continuing to working together. Thank you, Giselle.
Thank you so much. Honestly, like, I feel like thank you is not even like enough. Honestly, you've been like such a great mentor, and we're continuing to work together. So honestly, like, I felt like my life, has changed so much. And like you were saying in the beginning, Giselle 2.0, that was the goal initially. And now we're at Giselle 3.0. I'm so appreciative of you in my life. And like I said before, like, if I had to redo, this lifetime, I would do it again with you as a mentor and as a coach. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're going to make me cry. Thank you. You're welcome. And thank you so much. Mwah.